A very warm welcome to Inspire podcast series. It's a special episode today with Dr. Anil Kumar Kruthiventi. Very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi.
Great,
It's a
great to
pleasure
great.
being with you.
Absolutely, sir. So, sir actually has taught in a university when I was actually a student. So, I think my memories go back more than 30 years. But coming back to the book review that we want to talk about. So, to the audience, we're actually reviewing the book that sir has co-authored by name Krishi, Rooted Wisdom. And a quick intro of you, sir, so that the listeners, the audience actually can actually know you better. So Dr. Anil Kumar Kruthiventi has over 30 years of experience spanning R&D leadership, academic innovation, and startup incubation. He's a pioneering force at the intersection of science, strategy, and social impact. Anil sir has led large research teams across Tata Chemicals, NFCL, and the Institute of Life Sciences, and has played a foundational role in creating new business verticals in Nutra, nanotech, agri-formulations, and preventive healthcare. A former academic of Sri Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning, he helped shape future-ready curricula and was instrumental in establishing India's first public-private partnership for drug repurposing research. Now, today, Dr. Anil continues his journey as a freelance consultant, guiding startups, advising venture firms like Mistry Ventures, and mentoring the next generation as a professor of practice at Centurion University. His legacy is not just in patents and products, but in building bridges between academia, industry, and innovation. Now, coming to the book, Krishi Rooted Wisdom, the question is what if the future of farming doesn't lie with technology but in ancient wisdom? That's something which I think the three authors try to resolve in this particular book. Sir, I think let's go through the
Yeah,
themes. And before I do
sure.
that, any kind of welcome words you want? It's the first time you are actually coming on the Monday Morning Learning Postcard, specifically on Inspire Podcast.
Yeah, I've been a follower of this podcast, and I should say, first and foremost, I should really congratulate Ravi for doing a wonderful job across various, right from I would say character building to technical knowledge. It's a phenomenal span that is covered in this podcast series. So I really feel very good listening to this often. I would say first and foremost my thanks to you for having me with you on this podcast. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Uh, So, looking at the overall goals and objectives, sir, I think this particular episode aims to unpack your exploration of ancient Indian agricultural wisdom, understanding why the journey began, surfacing unexpected discoveries, assessing the scientific depth of the text, and drawing out practical lessons for today's farmers. And the conversation aims will also examine how this knowledge might reshape modern organic farming and its cultural significance. So, sir, as discussed, there are six particular themes. I'll quickly list them. Motivation and personal journey. We'll go through a personal journey here. Discoveries and surprises is the second one. Scientific depth and methodologies, third one. Practical applications and benefits. Impact on organic and sustainable farming. And we'll sign off with cultural and societal implications. So, sir, the first questions to you, two questions on the first theme of motivation and personal journey. What triggered your deep dive into ancient Indian agricultural practices? And was it a personal experience or a scholarly curiosity? That's number one. And before starting, what assumptions did you have about traditional farming and how did these shift as you researched?
Yeah. So thank you. I think the first seeds inspiration in agri sector was initiated and seeded by Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba Varu. This was during my research time. I was actually doing the natural products research. So Bhagwan happened to ask what I was doing, and he heard attentively what I was doing, and then he said, "See, you should utilize the knowledge for first thing." Bhagwan had said was, "You should utilize the knowledge for the good of the society. It should finally benefit the persons who are out there working." And then he specifically also mentioned, see, the farmers are undergoing so much of difficulty. You should use your knowledge to help them become more resilient, help them become more self-sufficient, And Swami also quoted that groundnut, because groundnut is a major crop around Puttaparthi. Swami said, see, groundnut has Tikka disease, and farmers really lose a lot of yields due to this disease.
Mm.
Their knowledge should be used for this kind of solving this kind of problems of the society. I said, since then on, the whole attention was diverted was all the time on trying to utilize this knowledge, whatever we gain, into solving problems in a manner that finally will be affordable to everyone. That was the underlying drive for me right from my research time. Swami set direction. Swami said, so I took it as affordability as one of the most important, because Swami had specifically mentioned it should help the common man. He didn't say common man. Swami said the one who is out there working should benefit. పని చేసేవాళ్ళు దీని ఇదంతా నువ్వు చదివిన చదువు అంతా వాళ్ళకి ఆనందాన్ని ఇవ్వాలి అని స్వామి అన్నారు. So this was the statement Swami said in Telugu. So that fundamentally I could translate it as something I should pick up problems which are actually affecting a common man, and also develop solutions which are affordable for common man. Right. So these were the driving main attempts. And then whatever I did in the academia was also all the projects that we took up as MPhil projects. Because in here in Puttaparthi, they were MPhil, not MPhil exactly, but MSc dissertation students were there with me. So the dissertation topics, and then later on PhD topic, couple of candidates were there. So we were invariably focusing on trying to pick up things which are of relevance to immediate society around us. So that's how the water purification and all those projects came up in chemistry department. So we kept on working towards this direction. Later on, I moved to industry because I finally wanted to really see that this knowledge finally reaches the market. It has to finally hit the market. See, in academia, you still don't have the complete wherewithal to take forward the findings to its logical end, right? Yeah. So that's the reason why I thought industry is an essential next step for me. So moved to Dr. Reddy's then, and then that's where we took up a drug repurposing and co-crystallization technology. These are technologies which will help us develop cost-effective solutions. We don't necessarily find, this is for means the persons who are in the domain of drug discovery will understand, we don't actually find a new chemical entity. Finding a new chemical entity and making it a drug takes close to 12 to 15 years of journey, with about $1 billion plus to be spent for it to finally hit the market. So while that route has its own benefits, right, for an Indian setup and for what Swami had actually given me as the mandate, right, this doesn't fit. So that's where I thought I should not take that path. Though actually I joined in the medicinal chemistry division in Dr. Reddy's, I said, this is not the path that I'm going to take. Let me carve out another path here. So within Dr. Reddy's, we started the first time co-crystallization, pharmaceutical co-crystallization it's called. So I take an existing drug, improve its bioavailability, and also combine it with another molecule which is far more active with the parent molecule, right? Make it synergistic in its action, thereby reducing the dosage, right? So, and quick to market. This will not take 12 to 15 years of development. It'll take 3 to 5 years of development, and maybe 1/10th to 1/50th of the expenses that normal drug discovery takes. So we are able to produce solutions which will finally hit the market at an affordable range, right? So this was what we actually, and it really was very well accepted. We did a lot of good work then. Then from there on, I moved to Tata Chemicals because the opportunity, the kind of canvas that they provided was far broader, right? From nanotechnology to agri to material science to nutraceuticals. So I thought, and it was, passion was to look at preventive healthcare rather than curative. While curative is necessary, palliative is what most of the allopathy does. Curative, few of them do, right? So I thought palliative is not the way ahead, because again, going by the mandate, you can't give something which is going to be permanent use for the patient. Means lifelong drug is not what we should spend our time and effort on. We should spend our time and effort on something which will give a cure quickly for the patient, so that the patient need not. I know it is commercially speaking, it is not. It doesn't make sense for a commercial person. A drug which is a lifelong supplement is far more attractive than something which is for a short term, right? But then,
Absolutely.
my belief is, if you do something of value, money will naturally come. What is required will naturally come. So we don't need to necessarily focus on the money part, but focus on really providing a valuable solution to the end user, right? So this was the direction. Therefore, even at Dr. Reddy's, I moved to nutraceuticals. First time I introduced the concept of nutraceuticals there. And then we said we will look at preventive healthcare rather than only curative or palliative. And during this journey, I got an opportunity in Tata Chemicals, where they said nutraceuticals, they are also wanting to focus. So that's when I went there. And then eventually I became the head of that whole group there, which was working under different verticals. Right. So I had the opportunity of really building all of these verticals. Were looking at cost effective solutions, and in their respective domains. For example, nano silica, which is right now become a SBU in Tata Chemicals. The silica they are actually right now selling. It all started during my tenure as an ideation, and we built the whole technology. So the nanosilica is fundamentally, the idea is use less and get more. That's what is nanotechnology. If we have to translate it in simple terms, try to. So in a sense, it is far more eco-friendly, and because we use less, it will become far more affordable, right? So use less and get more of the concept. And then Nutra Vertical was there. There again, we built the prebiotic platform, prebiotics as a platform for the almost we were 10 years ahead of the market. Right now, people are talking about prebiotics, postbiotics, and probiotics in a big way. This was, we were one of the pioneers at that time. We built a fructooligosaccharides platform, the production process. And so health right from the gut level onwards, how the health should be modified. So the whole preventive healthcare platform was really getting built very well then. And we really built a very robust preventive healthcare platform there, predominantly using prebiotics. I wanted to move further into the other domains. That's when, while Tata Chemicals, Rallis India also is a part of Tata Chemicals. So we were doing a lot of R&D work for Rallis too. So we had one vertical which was pure agri vertical. So that's when I actually started going to the farms as a part of Rallis team. I used to visit the farms, and that's when I started seeing that the whole farming that was going on in our country. Because fundamentally for preventive healthcare, the back end is agri.
Yeah.
If we have to understand that for healthcare, agri is the back end. If we don't have proper agri and agri methods that are being followed, right, we will not get nutritious product out. Right? And if you don't get nutritious product, this forms the basis. See, food and nutrition forms the basis for health.
Yeah.
Right? So if we, how can we build a healthy nation or even talk of preventive healthcare without giving proper nutrition? And nutrition is completely dependent on agri. So agri has to be really given equal attention, if not more, to ensure that the preventive healthcare journey becomes a reality and nation really becomes healthy. Right?
Absolutely.
So that's where, when I went and saw all those farms and what was being done, the kind of crop protection agents that were being used and the amounts that were being used, I was really quite pained. So really, I felt very bad after a couple of visits, because we were not only putting overloading the crop with the crop protection agents. We are
mm,
also in the process killing all the insects, all and destroying the whole ecosystem. This
mm,
was the kind of and then of course the other effects were now Punjab, the cancer prevalence is so high because the farmers use so much of crop protection agents, that is
mm,
pesticides, insecticides and so on, that they also it's affecting them while they are spraying, and they tend to
mm.
be, down the line become cancer patients, right? So it's not,
Absolutely.
and even the fruit, the finally the consumers who consume this food also are getting in some way affected due to having health conditions because of this kind of enormous crop protection agents being utilized. Even crop
Absolutely.
nutrition agents also. We were in
Mm,
fact working when I joined Tata Chemicals. Crop nutrition was part of Tata Chemicals. We were
right.
having Umbrella unit as we were one of the major producers of urea then, Tata Chemicals,
Mm,
right? So we did a
mm,
lot of reformulations on urea because again, when I went into the research of that, I realized the out of the urea that is put by the farmer, 67%. This is actually a conservative number. Is
mm.
wasted.
Oh
Means
my
it
God.
either goes into water streams or it gets evaporated as ammonia into air,
Mm.
and hardly 30 to 33% is absorbed by the plant.
Oh, yeah.
So see the amount of environmental pollution we are creating, the
Mm,
waterways, the air, everything is getting polluted in the process by
mm.
overload, and this is subsidized. So the first thing that farmer buys is bags and bags of urea and
Yeah.
pours it literally on the field. And the whole
Right.
area is, in fact, after the farmer puts urea in the field, I had opportunity to go a couple of times. You literally, as you cross, you get the smell of ammonia. The air is filled with ammonia. That's the kind of
Mm,
pollution that is created, right? So
mm.
then I realized agri has to be given a equal attention, and that's where passionately went into uh, trying to reform again nano methodology for trying to reduce the amount of, see, first step is you can't stop this as
Yeah.
the very first step, because it's not
Mm,
going to be practical for the farmer, right?
mm,
We might
mm.
talk any amount of things, but it's not going to be practical. And therefore, we'll have to first show through science methodologies. We have to develop formulations which are as equally efficient, right,
Mm.
as the present day, whatever they are using. But definitely the loading is half or less than half. So we
Wow.
took to nanotechnology, developed
Mm,
methods of utilizing nano formulations for as crop nutrition agents, as crop protection agents. So we developed some of them. Rallies has taken to market too. Those are also success
excellent.
stories. So
Mm-hmm.
in that journey, slowly, then I moved on to seeing that ancient knowledge. That's when actually I thought
Mm,
ancient India had some very innovative and very intelligent approaches to farming. They had intelligent
mm,
approaches to even health too. Ayurveda, we know, is such a holistic science. So I
mm,
thought even for agri, they must be having very good knowledge out there, which
mm-hmm.
is not so as prevalent or as common as Ayurveda right now. So started
Excellent.
going into the text. That was the interest then. Started going into the text and came across Vriksha Ayurveda, the
Wow.
concept of Vriksha Ayurveda. Just as we have Ayurveda
Mm.
for humans and animals, we have
Wow.
even Ayurveda for the plants, right?
Excellent.
So which is called
Mm,
as Vriksha Ayurveda. So I started going in depth into that, started reading books on that, and then started trying to utilize those concepts, translate them to present day science, and
mm,
deliver products using that knowledge in the present day scientific manner, right? And
mm.
started working there. So this work was carried on. I moved to Hyderabad because of family reasons, and then I joined Nagarjuna Fertilizers, which is right now Fertis India Private Limited, it's called. So we
Mm.
went into that company and developed all these formulations, which are right now in market again, right? So I was doing this about 2 years back, Kapil Group had requested me to be the consultant for their organic farms. And then, so the present day organic farming is, unfortunately, people think that chemical free farming is organic farming,
Mm.
right? So, and
Mm.
so, and he, because Kapil Group had asked me to work on Vriksha Ayurveda, they thought Vriksha
Mm.
Ayurveda is the solution. And they said,
Mm.
we want to build and develop a efficient and really commercially viable organic farming. That was the
Mm.
very first statement that they made. So,
Mm.
which means that there is a doubt whether organic farming will be commercially viable, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So I then said, yeah, so Vriksha Ayurveda, yeah, let's use that to build it. You have been working on this, we have heard. So then I said,
Mm.
Vriksha Ayurveda, by that time I had actually gone in depth to Vriksha Ayurveda and realized Vriksha Ayurveda is all about crop protection and not crop nutrition.
Ah,
Nutrition is the first part, protection comes later. It's,
right.
in the sense when there is an infection onto the crop, that's when the protection part comes. Of course, seed treatment also there's a part of protection, but
Mm.
predominantly protection is at a later part. So, right, so nutrition is the first step. So I said nutrition is still not given fully in this. We have to actually dive deep into ancient Indian agricultural practices to really understand the crop nutrition in its depth.
Yeah.
Then I said, then they said, no, no, no. See, we have to have a combination. See, the kind of confidence level right now in organic farming for a commercial venture is
Mm.
seemingly low.
Right.
Nobody really believes that it is feasible. So the same
Mm.
response was there, and they said this is not feasible. So we had actually this whole Krishi book journey started then. We
Mm.
were just discussing, brainstorming, and the response constantly I was getting is, see, organic farming is not commercially viable. So we will not do
Mm.
100% organic farming. We will do a combination. You can use your nanotechnology. Means everything we will utilize, but still try to keep it as close to organic as possible is what was being discussed. I said,
Right.
no, that's when I said, no, I don't think this is a reality. The reason
Mm.
is NPK right now, wheat nitrogen, wheat phosphorus, wheat potassium, which are the three
Mm.
major nutrients for a plant, right? All
Mm.
three right now, India is importing.
Right.
Yes, their starting materials, I would say. For nitrogen, it is a
Mm.
natural gas which is imported, converted to
Mm.
urea in the urea manufacturing plants, and then so that's how nitrogen is being delivered to the farmer, right?
Mm. Mm.
DAP is the source of phosphorus, diammonium
Mm.
phosphate, right? That's an ore, and that we are importing. For potassium, we don't have a single mine of potassium in our country, right?
Mm.
Potassium is getting imported. So, in
Mm.
short, suddenly when I was going through this, I realized we are actually not independent India.
Mm.
Our food itself, we are dependent on rest of the world,
Right.
right? So then it
Mm.
put me to a thinking: was India like this before?
Mm.
No, at least we in all the history, and I went through whatever literature I could get on history and the past agri practices. I never came across any statement mentioning that this many tons or this much amount of either nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium was imported into our country,
Mm.
right? Then how is it where somewhere we have gone wrong? That means India was being agriculturally self-sufficient, right?
Mm.
Without
Mm.
importing any of these things, right? And
Yeah.
India was feeding everyone's mouth, every Indian's mouth with its own
Yeah.
produce, right? So I
Mm.
mentioned this in the following meeting. Then they said, no, no, no.
Mm.
See the point. The population at that time was very low as compared to what we are right now. We are right
Mm.
now the world's largest populated country. So I don't
Mm.
think organic farming, they did organic farming, right?
Mm.
Uh, it would have been, that organic farming would have been sufficient for that time, right?
Right.
So
Mm.
again, a counter. Then I said, then I thought I have to really look at the population. What was the actual population at that point in time? So how do
Mm.
I now get that data? And of course, the
Mm.
Western authors invariably gave their own numbers, which are not realistic, I would say, right? The reason
mm,
is each one was trying to be lower than the other. That's what I found. I don't want to quote the authors. Various authors
mm,
was where Dyson and so many. They're trying to give as low a number as possible for different points of time in our past. But the Indian
mm,
authors, corresponding Indian authors, who had some deep dive into our own history, were giving
mm.
very different numbers. So
Right.
I thought this is not the way forward. Neither should I
Mm,
quote the Westerners, nor should I quote the present Indian authors. Let me look
mm,
at the epics. Epics are also history books. Actually, they are not
yeah.
any myths. They are the things which have actually happened. They are itihasa. They have happened, and now we know through
Mm,
various findings that Dwaraka they could find, Ramasetu we could find many evidences are coming up that all that has been written in the epics is verbatimly true. So I went
mm,
to Mahabharata, first took Ramayana, did not get any population mentioned there. So I went
mm,
into, yeah, actually there also there's a mention.
mm,
The kind of Vanaras that followed Rama to Lanka, it is
mm.
in uh, more than a billion.
Wow.
It is 1,000 crores plus Vanaras was the army strength of Lord Rama,
Wow.
right? And equal was the Rakshasa strength from the Ravana's side.
Mm,
Right. So it
mm,
was a huge war. It was not a small army that crossed the ocean. It was a huge
mm,
army that crossed the ocean, right? So, but that is all Vanaras. We still can't we just say based on the strength of Vanaras how many humans had lived, right? So that is not sensible for me. So then I looked at Mahabharata, and fortunately in Mahabharata, where who mentions where the actual numbers have been given. In Stri
mm,
Parva, Yudhishthira actually tells Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra asks him how many people have passed away, how many people have been killed in the war. Post-war, he asks
mm,
for the statistics. And the
mm.
number that Yudhishthira had given just zapped me. The number is 1.66 billion.
Wow.
That's where one of the Western authors had written that the most bloodiest square inch of an area on this planet Earth is Kurukshetra.
Mm,
Right? Every square inch is dipped with blood there because
yeah.
that was the strength. So I could not believe this. Then I
Mm,
kept going through Mahabharata. Then actually the strength of the number of warriors who had gone for war means as
mm,
soldiers. There will be others also, but as soldiers, those who had gone to war, it's been very clearly given, very clearly, beautifully explained. What is a
mm,
Akshauhini? Actually, Akshauhini is further split into smaller units, and finally they build it to Akshauhini. All that I've quoted in the book. And
mm,
Akshauhini consists of the ratio is something like 1:1:3:5. One chariot, one elephant, three times horses, five times foot soldiers.
wow.
So one Akshauhini, it seems, has had 21,870 chariots,
Mm,
21,870 elephants, 65,610 horses, and 1,09,350 foot soldiers.
foot soldiers.
And mind you, all these chariots, elephants, and horses had warriors on them. Means elephant is not just walking by itself. There's a
Yeah.
soldier on it. So that is how I calculated based on these numbers. 18 such
Mm,
Akshohinis went to war. So the
mm,
total number comes to 43 lakhs 30,260 foot soldiers or soldiers in totality,
mm,
27 lakhs 55,620 horses, and 3 lakh 93,660 elephants went to war.
mm,
Okay. And I made some few assumptions. I said every defense personnel who was there, every single individual, let me assume, had gone to war.
mm.
Okay, it's not actually the reality. There'll be
Yeah.
ground staff, there'll be others, right? But every person in the defense has gone to army war, suppose we say. So
Mm,
we can actually, and the population is always many times the actual number that are there in the defense, right? The
Yeah.
defense personnel are a fraction of the country's populations, nation's
Yeah.
population. So I
Mm.
looked at the Indian, present day Indian defense, what is its fraction in the Indian population.
Mm.
And the number that has come is 0.08% of present Indian population is in the army.
Mm.
Means all the three defense forces, army, navy, and air force put together.
Mm.
The defense personnel, the amount comes to 0.08% of Indian population. So I
Sure.
said, okay, let me take it as 0.1%. Why 0.08? Let me make it
Mm.
0.1%. So at that time, the population of Bharat was the defense personnel were 0.1% fraction of the population of Bharat.
Mm.
So I back calculated, and the number
Mm.
really stunned me. It comes to about 4.33 billion
Wow.
was the population of our country during Dwapara time. And this actually fits very well with the number that Yudhishthira has given.
Mm.
He says 1.66 billion have been killed.
Mm.
Now, if we realize that the population was 4.33 billion plus, this number
Mm.
does not sound illogical.
Yeah.
Every possibility, it's a reality, right?
Mm.
So I got two confirmations from where same Mahabharata at two different chapters
Mm.
of Mahabharata, parvas of Mahabharata, saying that
Mm.
the population was somewhere around 4 billion plus. That means four times the present population.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we can't say population was less and Indians were able to feed. And added to this,
Mm.
what surprised me was so many horses, so many elephants, everything lacks, right? And we
Yeah.
also come across in all the ancient scriptures that every king gave away lakhs of cattle as dana. That means
Mm.
everybody had lakhs of cattle. In a sense, every country had some a huge number of cattle. So cattle
Mm.
was being fed. Horses were being fed. Elephants were one elephant is equal to almost 10 humans, right? Well,
Yeah.
elephants were being fed, and added to that 4.33 billion plus human population was being fed, and all this
Mm.
without importing a single N, P, and K. So
Yeah.
then I said, this is something. There is something very very significant in our ancient Indian practices. And
Mm.
while I presented this the naturally the landmass thing came up. So
Mm.
maybe at that time Mahabharat was Afghanistan, Myanmar, all that put together. Right now we are much smaller. Then so
Yeah.
I said no. Then I went back again to the drawing board and started looking at what was the forest area and the cultivated area at that point of time. Again, percentages. Presently,
Mm.
51.91. That is 52% of Indian land area is under cultivation, right? And about 21% or 22% is under forest area presently in India.
Mm. Mm.
At that time, I didn't get exact numbers, but the mention is that it was less than 40% was the cultivated area,
Mm.
right? So now it balances out. Okay.
Yeah.
We have far more cultivated area right now, less of forest. At
Mm.
that time, forests were far more and cultivated area was much less, right?
Yeah.
So land mass utilized was the same, more or less the same. But the
Mm.
mouths it has fed is unbelievable number. And
Absolutely.
all that without a single thing getting imported.
Mm.
We are completely self-sufficient,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
thought this is going to be a game changer if you understand what ancient Indians practiced. It will make
Mm.
India self-sufficient. Food
Absolutely.
security is something very important for every nation,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
think, therefore, this is a project which we have to really spend time and effort just to understand when it will get into practice. How it will get into practice is divine will. When as and when He wills, it will happen. But we finally, I would convince the team and say we have to really dwell deep into this. We have to
Mm.
really spend time to understand this in depth, because there is something that we have missed out. We are just saying organic, but I don't think organic is what we right now define it to be, right? So that was the
Absolutely, sir.
whole passion with
Oh my
which this
God.
whole journey started. right?
The thing is, such a great context setting. I mean, I've actually done more than 50 episodes now. People take 3, 4, 5 minutes to set the context, even for book reviews. But this has such a magnanimity in terms of volume and depth as such, sir. Thanks so much for taking, I think, almost 30 minutes to actually set the context as to how
Yeah,
exactly the book actually shaped and why. So, three
yeah.
words for what you have said until now. Very inspiring, I think very insightful and very innovative. Three things come to my mind straight away. Uh, Thanks so much, I think, for really coming, sir. I think this is going to be a very great interview without doubt. Couple of questions which you covered already. So, and the next
Yeah.
one was about some jaw-dropping moments as you uncovered wealth of knowledge. I think you covered some of the aspects of it.
No,
If there,
there's something very thrilling. I will
great. So
say,
that,
I'll just
that
give you one. Okay,
go
right now,
ahead.
shall I answer that or later?
I'll let me just read out
Okay,
the two
sure.
questions, then you can go ahead. So
Yeah, yeah.
this under discovery and surprises theme, a couple of questions are: what were some jaw-dropping moments as you uncovered the wealth of knowledge in our scriptures? That's number one. And which piece of ancient advice or technique surprised you by its relevance to modern times? These are the two questions I
Yeah,
have.
yeah. So let me start with the jaw-dropping moments. There were too many,
Sure.
I would say. As I went into the literature, I also took the help of some Sanskrit professors. I traveled to Tirupati Sanskrit University, sat with the
Mm-hmm.
professors there. They were very helpful, and
Mm-hmm.
because my knowledge of Sanskrit is superficial and
Mm-hmm.
not in depth. So understanding it in depth and understanding every word of it, I used to take the help of Sanskrit scholars there, and
Mm-hmm.
who and even the library there is a really good library. So I used to use that library to take the original books that have been
Mm-hmm.
written in Sanskrit. So this was the journey, and what surprised me is the kind of knowledge that our ancients had. It is really, as the whole journey is jaw dropping, if you ask me. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you some instances. Means the amount of knowledge that our ancients uh, should I say, comprehensively put it into a capsule. Capsule
Yeah.
also is a big word, if you ask me, much less than
Mm-hmm.
that. But
Mm-hmm.
having enormous uh, knowledge within, hidden within, right, is really
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. I'll give you one example. This is
Sure.
something that even we used to chant at Puttaparthi, right? A simple mantra, right? Which actually, that's also fascinating mantra. It tells the
Mm.
journey of right from food, how food is produced, to how Atmic realization is done.
Wow.
The whole journey is sometime later. I think we should go through that journey, but I'll
Definitely.
be taking only the first part of it, right? It
Sure.
says, Pajanye naushadhi, aushadhi vanaspatibhirannam, bhavatanyena pranair balam. It goes on that way. So the
Mm.
first part says, Pajanye naushadhi, aushadhi vanaspatibhirannam. Annam, Vedamata describes as Aushadhi and Vanaspati. Aushadhi Vanaspati Bhirannam. So this set me thinking. What is
Mm.
Aushadhi and what is Vanaspati? Because
Mm.
those are supposed to be Annam. Annam is something which is like staple food for us.
Yeah.
The maximum quantity of food that is consumed, right, apart from the side dishes, is Annam.
Mm.
Right? So that's a
Yeah.
staple diet, staple,
Mm.
the most important part of our diet, right?
Mm.
And Vedamata describes it as Vanaspati and Aushadhi. So I went into ancient knowledge of what is Vanaspati and what is Aushadhi. And it
Mm.
fascinated me that just as we have taxonomy now,
Mm.
there was taxonomy then too,
Right.
right? There was
Mm.
classification of plants and animals was done even by our ancients, but the
Mm.
classification approaches were different. But classification was done. So
Right.
plants were classified as Vanaspati, Druma, Lata, Gulma, Aushadi, Trina, Karira. It goes on. Three
Mm.
more are there, right?
Mm.
I did not pick all of them because of time, right? So I'll
Mm.
Vanaspati by description in that classification is that the trees or the plants or the herbs which give fruits without flowers are vanaspatis. Okay. And then, of course, Druma is trees having both flowers and fruits. Right? Lata, you will understand easily. Gulma is all short plants are called as
Mm.
Gulma. Aushadhi is again very interesting. A plant which fruits and then withers away. Plants which wither after fruiting are called as
Okay.
Aushadhis.
Oh.
Now, now you look back, how beautiful is this statement? It said
Mm.
Vanaspati and Aushadhi are Annam. And if you really now see all our cereals, all our grains, all our pulses, all our lentils, all of them, even millets, are
Mm.
Aushadhis because they
Mm.
fruit and then they wither.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
I suddenly realized actually there is a huge commercial opportunity also. I did tell Kapil Group, there's a commercial opportunity also here, right?
Mm.
See, in
Mm.
Aushadhi, even a banana is a Aushadhi because the plant gives banana fruits and then that part of the plant withers,
Yeah.
right? So it's an Aushadhi. That means what? Banana is a complete staple food. See, we can
Mm.
also derive now some good insights. While we are
Yeah.
thinking only rice, wheat are staple food, we'll now
Mm.
suddenly realize even banana is staple food, right?
Mm.
Coming to Vanaspati, jackfruit, there's no flower for jackfruit.
Mm.
It gives a fruit. That means what? Jackfruit is a complete diet. It's a staple
Yeah.
food. And now, present day science is now saying jackfruit is a complete diet. Suddenly, Westerners
Yeah.
have woken up and they are saying it is. But it was told in a simple. See the way the sentence has been made, right?
Mm.
Aushadhi vanaspati virannam bhavat anyena prana. Annam gives rise to prana. Prana ir balam balena tapas tapasa shraddha shraddhaya meda. It goes on. I will
Mm.
not go into that part, right? But
Mm.
this annam is the cause for the prana. And what is annam? As per all these things, staple diet. And only
Mm.
vanaspati and aushadhi classify to be annam, right?
Mm.
So jackfruit is now complete diet. Figs in a way, actually flower is within. So in a sense, its
Mm.
flower is not seen. So figs also
Mm.
can be classified as vanaspatis, right?
Mm.
So figs also are complete diet. And the commercial aspect is only one fig. There are four fig trees, there are four types of figs that are available in nature, in India
Mm.
itself, right?
Mm.
We are only consuming one type of fig. The other three can be actually looked at. And I really, when I went back with this idea and saw, I realized that all the types of figs were being consumed by our ancients. Our ancients were consuming all these types of figs, which we have forgotten. So we can
Mm.
as well grow all those types, actually bring them to market,
Yeah.
right? So there's a commercial
Yeah.
angle to this simple statement, right? So the jaw-dropping thing was, my God, the kind of, and this also defines how much land a farmer should cater to what kind of plants. Staple diet
Mm.
will give him much better result, income, right? Because volumes,
Mm.
it is a volume game, right? So
Mm.
land should be more provided for vanaspatis and aushadhis, where
Mm.
vegetables and all that which form the lata, druma, and all of them should be given much smaller fractions of his land,
Yeah.
portions of his land, right? So it
Mm.
really sets the kind of knowledge that is in. This was the. I'm just giving you one such example. It's
Mm.
really thrilling how, if we go in depth, use the present day understanding of what it means, right?
Mm.
We'll suddenly
Mm.
see there's so many aspects to a line in Vedas or scriptures, or even for that matter, the you asked me the second question. What are the most important unique aspect of the
Yeah.
ancient Indian practice, right? In fact, we
Yeah.
called it as the three pillars of ancient Indian practice. The
Mm.
book actually talks of three pillars. Pillar number one is the most unique, I felt, which is diversity,
Mm.
right? In fact, maximum number of pages go into explaining the diversity part in the book,
Mm.
right? Which is chapter two. The diversity, chapter one is introduction. The chapter two is actually we are diving into diversity as the first pillar. The
Mm.
unique part of our ancient Indian agricultural system was there was no monoculture at all. Means what I mean is now you see acres and acres of paddy field, wheat,
Mm.
and so on, right? It was never
Mm.
that way. It was always intercrop, sometimes with three crops together, but
Mm.
minimum one plus one,
Right.
right? And this, the knowledge that is behind this is again stunning. We went
Mm.
into science, trying to understand why a plant, for example, व्रीहयश्च मे यवाश्च मे माशाश्च मे तिलाश्च मे मुद्गाश्च मे खिल्वाश्च मे गोधूमाश्च मे मशुराश्च मे. In Chamakam, which we chant almost every day in the puja,
Mm.
Shiva puja, there,
Mm.
there are two plants are joined together. The way we chant is always two together in
Mm.
Chamakam, right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
why these two? I suddenly went into and realized that these two are actually best suited for intercropping.
Oh my God.
Amazing, yeah, it is really.
Oh my
And the
God.
intercropping does what kind of benefit for the farmer is unbelievable. The reason is,
Mm.
see, for example, there are so many aspects. So I'll just take little time on this because it's a very
Sure.
important aspect, and I want everyone to understand how important intercropping is and how much it
Mm.
will make a difference in agricultural practice if we take to intercropping rather than monoculture. So it's a
Yep.
polyculture approach that we have to take because
Mm.
fundamentally, I will first put the philosophical part to it. Diversity is in fact coined a term there which I kept on repeating in the book. Diversity is life and uniformity is death. Okay, because I
Mm.
felt nature, in fact, nature is designed in such a way that it supports and helps and keeps diversity all the time. You try to
Mm.
remove diversity, it will act against you.
Mm.
The examples are, I'll give you simple examples. The more
Mm.
diverse our gut microbiome is, means we have lots of organisms in our gut.
Mm.
The diverse the organisms are, means the number of species that are there are more. The more diverse they are, the more healthier
Mm.
the gut is. It's now scientifically established fact.
Mm.
If the
Mm.
number of types of species reduce, then it's called as dysbiosis. Means the gut is not functioning properly.
Mm.
Now the word that is used in medicine is dysbiosis. Okay,
Right.
so the more the diversity, the healthier the gut is. Okay. Another
Mm.
example, which is also easily relatable, forest. You go to a forest which has more biodiversity, say Western Ghats.
Mm.
It's self-sustainable,
Right.
right? It's more resilient to all the
Mm.
climatic changes.
Mm.
You, on the other hand, you create a forest which is artificial with less biodiversity, it will not
Mm.
last. So the
Yeah.
greater the biodiversity, the more
Mm.
healthier and resilient is the outcome, right?
Right.
So the same knowledge, our ancients took it to farming.
Mm.
They were
Okay.
sensible in that. And they
Mm.
identified crops which should get intercropped with another one. And when the science there is just fascinating, I'll tell you the reason is
Mm.
sometimes it is the pest predator type push pull mechanism, we call it right now. That
Mm.
means
Mm.
what? You get a pest on one crop, right? You
Mm.
intercrop it with such a way because in nature, every insect has a predator.
Mm.
So
Mm.
called pest has a predator.
Mm.
Okay, and all these insects invariably have selected plants as their host plants, just as
Right.
we like to live in certain localities, right?
Mm. Mm.
Even insects have their likings for plants. And how do they communicate? Through chemical signals. Plants release
Mm.
some volatile oils
Mm.
or
Mm.
chemicals that is sensed by the insect. In the insect world, it's all chemical language. Language is all
Right.
molecular language, right? We
Mm.
speak
Mm.
in sound, they speak in chemicals. So
Mm.
they immediately sense those chemicals that are there, that are being
Mm.
released, and identify the plant and hone themselves to that plant or that crop, that particular tree, and live there. So that is how they live, right? So
Mm.
a
Mm.
predator host plant used to be the intercrop for the crop that is the main crop. See
Correct.
the knowledge that has gone. So there's a natural
Mm.
control. Pest comes and attacks. Immediately the predator comes and sits on the host plant, which is right next to it. It's planted right next to it. This will start
Mm.
eating this pest. So there's a natural control. You don't need to do any pesticide. Nothing is needed. And on
Mm.
the another great advantage is you are not killing or you're not 100% eradicating the pests. It's a
Yeah.
natural control. It will come to 10%. pest will still continue because insects are part and part of ecosystem. They are integral
Mm.
part of our nitrogen cycle.
Right.
Without insects, our whole nitrogen cycle gets impacted. So you should
Mm.
not eradicate insects. It's very wrong.
Mm.
In fact,
Mm.
in that process, I coined a word. I didn't use it. We should stop calling the word insect because no, we have a correlation to that statement. Insect, when we say, we feel it's something very low, right?
Mm.
But
Mm. Mm.
with respect to ecosystem, it is not something very low. It's a very important component of ecosystem, and therefore
Mm.
we can call it ecopod. Eco is
Mm.
comes from eco. Pod comes from arthropod. Arthropod is the zoological name of insects, right? So you
Wow.
take the pod from that. So ecopod is something a far better way of addressing insects because it will immediately remind us that these are
Mm.
a very important component of our ecosystem and we need to preserve them. We should not eradicate. So this
Absolutely.
idea of not eradicating at the same time, not allowing them to affect the crop is
Mm.
have a intercrop which is a host to the predator of the pest. See the
Absolutely.
knowledge, right? The second thing
Absolutely.
is invariably the one thumb rule which has been mentioned many times in these ancient books is you plant a fibrous rooted plant or a shallow
Mm.
rooted plant next to a
Mm.
deep rooted plant.
Mm.
This is the thumb rule of intercropping, right?
Mm.
And what does this fibrous or the shallow rooted plant do? It will open up the soil. So there is a soil aeration.
Yeah.
Deep rooted plant cannot open up the soil. So a deep
Mm.
rooted crop should be intercropped with a fibrous rooted crop.
Right.
So the crop's fertility automatically goes up because this is helping in aeration. So the
Mm.
yields will go up,
Mm.
right? Or they used to intercrop with roots which swell, like sweet potato, right?
Mm.
It grows, it swells, the root swells, and it actually bursts open the soil.
Mm.
Okay, so see the
Yeah.
knowledge how it is being utilized, how beautifully simple observations are utilized in such a beautiful manner to help in
Mm.
crop resilience, right? So soil fertility is brought up by this simple methodology, okay?
Mm.
And the trees, no, and trees they were selecting, they are trees which have been identified. This was really fascinating. In fact, I wanted to tell
Mm.
this to all our government forest departments. There are few
Mm.
trees which they have identified as the trees which will attract rain. Kadamba
Ah.
tree attracts rain, so
Mm.
planting
Mm.
kadamba trees will help in a big way in attracting rains and fighting
Mm.
the problem of water scarcity, right? So
Yeah.
trees, they have understood. In fact, trees, the way, the kind of position that has been given for trees in all these ancient scriptures is fascinating,
Mm.
really
Mm.
fascinating. They have positioned trees as something. It seems Brahma has trees next to him, which
Mm.
constantly flow the nectar onto his feet. And those five
Uh-huh.
trees have been mentioned: sandal and bilva and so on. Right. So
Mm.
and trees which have to be planted next to lakes, trees which have to be planted as the uh, fence for the fields. The idea is
Mm.
beautiful, actually. You know why?
Mm.
Trees are the home for birds, not
Yeah.
one, but a whole biodiversity of birds.
Yeah.
They are the home for insects, number of insects. So
Mm.
what they do is actually these birds will in turn control the insects in the field.
Mm.
They'll go and pick the insects and eat, right?
Mm.
So in
Mm.
effect, and then these trees, because they are deep rooted and quite strongly deep rooted, right? They
Mm.
pull out the nutrients which are deep within, solubilize them, and throw it up,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm.
and then another beautiful thing is they are like wind shield. Wind
Mm.
also will not allow pollination to happen if there is excessive wind.
Yeah.
So having trees on the as a fence to the field will
Mm.
allow more pollination to happen because they are wind
Absolutely.
shields, natural wind shields. See how much of
Mm.
thought process went
Yeah.
behind saying simple things. These were like thumb rules that a farmer had to follow. So the
Mm.
intercropping cropping along with trees, and trees should be where they should be positioned in the farm, and which tree should be positioned next to which tree, right?
Right.
Because there is again at a root level communication between plants. So they
Mm.
understood this. Mycorrhiza can be symbiotic to mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza means the fungus which lives at the root system of any of a given plant is different
Mm.
from a different species. It keeps changing. Some
Right.
of these mycorrhiza are symbiotic in their relationship, means
Mm.
they help each other. So they pick
Mm.
the plants which are symbiotic.
Wow.
It's not only at this at the surface. They understood at the root system which are the plants which are symbiotic with each other. So intercropping should be done. So that's where we explained each of them scientifically. Every
Mm.
intercrop, why is it that this pair has been selected? And another
Mm.
one is a very beautiful one is plants which produce some kind of essential oil, I mean, some
Mm.
kind of smell, are
Mm.
planted as intercrop next to a crop which is prone for pest attack.
Mm.
Very easily prone. Say, for example, vendi, the okra, right? Lady's
Mm.
finger.
Mm.
It's very easily prone for pest attack.
Mm.
Next to it, they put a marigold plant. No, the concept is, you know what? Just now I mentioned insects hone to a plant based
Mm.
on smell, right?
Yeah.
The plant which is producing essential oils, that is, say, marigold, this
Mm.
smell, this is overproducing this fragrance molecules, right? They
Mm.
interfere with those molecules and confuse the insect and not give it the right direction to come and hone and land on the host plant.
Wow.
What a strategy, right?
Wow.
So crops really it fascinated me so much. This first and foremost the concept of diversity itself, that they never
Mm.
had monoculture, right? They had
Mm.
always a polyculture approach, and the
Mm.
selection of the plants for intercropping has been so intelligent and so scientific. It just
Mm.
as I just now said, every instance is jaw dropping. It is just fascinating how these people understood this kind of depth. I'll tell you another level of depth. This was final one which zapped all three of us, and that is
Mm.
C3 C4. There are two kinds of pathways in plant. We call it as the
Mm.
C3 is called as the Calvin cycle, C4 is called as the HS cycle, right? It
Mm.
is the way of how carbon dioxide is sequestered. Carbon dioxide is converted into reduced form of carbon, or in other words, food. Okay, simple way, if I have to put it
Yeah.
right. So the
Mm.
C3 plants invariably function very well at low temperatures and when the conditions are dry.
Mm.
C4 plants function very well when the temperatures are high and carbon dioxide also is high in air.
Mm.
Okay. So their combinations where some of them we found were actually C3, C4 combinations. So what
Mm.
happens? Your output, because fundamentally carbon dioxide has to be converted into food,
Mm.
right? So if you have, and because of the climatic changes, because it's too in some seasons the climatic conditions are predictable, right? So
Mm.
whether it will be
Mm.
dry or hot, and it varies. Daytime it will be very very hot, and nighttime it will be very cold. So you cannot have
Mm.
a single crop which can manage both. So they had C3 C4 combinations. So one functions very well during the hot condition, another functions very well in the cold conditions. And so
Mm.
final carbon output from the farm is not reduced. See, this multi-cropping has another beautiful, simple advantage for the farmer. Even if one
Mm.
crop gets, if as of now, farmer's condition is binary. Either he
Mm.
gets money, 0 1 it is, or he completely loses the crop, right? It's gone. This
Mm.
multi-cropping, what it will do, it is giving him second line of revenue. If
Wow.
one crop gets it because of some chance, right, the
Mm.
second crop makes up. So it's not a binary system for him. He will
Mm.
continue to be resilient because he will continue to get some, if not total profit, the profit that has been planned, some part of
Mm.
it at least will come to him,
Yeah.
right? So it makes so much common sense to go for a polyculture rather than monoculture.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, my understanding has been this monoculture came into our country due to British influence. because they
Mm.
wanted commerce and they wanted to grow fields, the crops for their utilization, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they forcibly moved the farmers from out of polyculture to monoculture so
Mm.
that more and more can be produced. But
Absolutely,
if it is
sir.
polyculture, use of pesticides, all crop protection agent comes down, right?
Mm.
Another beauty, weedicides need not be used. They have given beautiful examples, in fact, in literature, right? From hemp
Mm.
plant to durva plant to, they have mentioned, which are very,
Mm.
very good for weed control. So you interplant that,
Mm.
even hemp gives you a revenue output. Even durva gives
Mm.
you a revenue output, right? At the
Mm.
same time, they control weeds.
Yeah.
See the beauty. So, weed control, weed pest control, weed soil fertility, everything
Mm.
is taken care by
Yeah.
intercropping, right? So, if in the present day organic, if this concept is brought in,
Mm.
right, present day organic will become far more resilient.
Absolutely, sir.
Pillar number one, right?
Yeah.
So this was the main pillar, right? The other two pillars are integrated farming. See, the farmer at that time, you would have
Mm.
read this. I am sure every Indian would have somewhere come across king donating cattle, and every farmer
Mm.
seems to be having a cat, a cow at his home, right?
Mm.
That means what? They, I called it as main industry and allied industry. If agri farm is the main industry, dairy is the
Mm.
allied industry.
Right.
Like in the present day industrial world itself, we have the allied
Mm.
industries situated right next to the main industry.
Mm.
You have a BHEL, right next to BHEL are the small units producing all the electrical small gadgets and items, right?
Mm.
Situated right next to it,
Yeah.
right? Because logistics makes it sensible. Same was the
Mm.
concept then too. What the
Mm.
output of the farm goes to the cattle, the output of the
Mm.
cattle comes to the farm,
Right.
right? So it was a circular economy and they
Mm.
have to be situated next to each other. That's a very important point.
Mm.
Otherwise, how can that, for example, poultry, the hen actually used to go and do insect control in the farm.
Mm.
It feeds on insects, right?
Mm.
And the output of the hen, the poultry output is highly nutritious again. It's a good
Mm.
fertilizer, goes back to the farm. So
Yeah.
it's a so these allied industries have to be next to the main industry, and that is where no a policy.
Mm.
In fact, as I was going through this and writing this, I realized government has to realize this very important point. The reason is small
Mm.
farmer alone can have this concept of integrated farming, where
Mm.
a dairy or a poultry or a sericulture or something comes along with the main farm. In the
Yeah.
corporate farming, what happens is hundreds of
Mm.
acres is the farm. There is no close contact with the allied farm with the main farm,
Ah.
allied industry with the main industry,
Right.
right? So
Mm.
small farmers have to be encouraged. That is why India was always a small farmer approach,
Mm.
because integrate. And here again, the farmer is again safeguarded. If the farm, by some chance, the whole crop, both the crops, all the three crops get washed off, right? Still, the dairy
Mm.
gives him output, the
Yeah.
poultry gives him output. So he's
Yep.
never a binary condition. Farmer is
Mm.
now more or less self sufficient. There's
Absolutely.
no time that he will be out of revenue flow,
Mm.
right?
Absolutely.
So it makes
Absolutely.
fantastic business sense if you have this integrated farming. So we called it a second pillar of
Mm.
ancient Indian agricultural practices, because this was a very, very important pillar.
Mm.
Diversity was first, and this was a second very important, unique approach of our ancient Indian agricultural system, which has to become a part of present day organic too,
Absolutely.
right? And finally, see, the whole of agri, what fascinated me at the end is how
Mm.
beautifully our ancients translated our basic faith, the
Mm.
whole Bharat culture, the faith with which we move in this whole world is
Mm.
Ishavashyamidagum sarvam yat kinchat jagatyam jagat. The
Yeah.
whole world is same divinity, pervades the whole world,
Absolutely.
right? There's no, and this is what quantum world now talks about, feedback loops, everything is interconnected and so on. All that is the quantum physics
Mm.
talks about it. All this
Mm.
stems from the basic knowledge. that everything, there is only one connecting united divine principle, which is running
Mm.
through the whole universe, be it sentient, non-sentient, living, non-living, animal, plant, human, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
This knowledge has been beautifully translated to agri.
absolutely,
See,
sir.
we are not, see, in the diversity, you see, we are not destroying the insects.
Mm.
Why? Because we see oneness with the insects too.
Yeah,
They should not destroy the crop, but they should live,
absolutely.
right? So
Mm.
similarly, in the last pillar is you can't take away everything from soil.
Mm.
So at that time, the practice was minimum 5% of the produce was actually, means grain is produced, say 100 tons grain is produced, 5 tons is
Mm.
put back into the farm,
Mm.
right? It is just plowed back into the farm. 5% was the number that I got, right? It may be
Mm.
less than that, but this is the number that some authors have given. They used to put back into the, means in the sense what happens, this will become the food for the microorganisms, the insects
Mm.
that are there within the soil.
Mm.
What we talk
Absolutely.
of organic carbon is actually
Mm.
taken care by saying that soil also has to be taken care. Our own field also has to be taken care. Mother Earth, the concept is Mother Earth,
Mm.
and therefore Mother Earth has to be taken care, right? So
Mm.
there was a part of the produce which was left for the field. So we called it that as law of empathy. So
Mm.
in a sense, it comes down to DIL, diversity and integrated farming and law of empathy. So it is DIL. You use your DIL to do your agri, right?
Excellent,
So
sir.
those are the three pillars that we came up
No,
with. It
great,
is,
great. Sir, while you were talking, there's some story which I heard. I exactly do not know how it was narrated, but I heard it from you some time back. And this was the time, I think, I don't know whether it was a degree course or a PG course where you had to choose the subject. And it seems you were weak at chemistry then.
yeah, yeah,
And I
yes.
was actually wondering throughout the last close to 1 hour, you were actually going 1000x deep into chemistry with the kind of clarity and understanding and intellectual integrity you have. And I really wonder whether it happened to you because, 30 years back or 35 years back, you were not good at chemistry. And so we literally forced you to go into chemistry. Can you please narrate that for the audience?
Yeah, yeah, sure. This whole thing is finally his doing through us. That's beyond doubt. Because when you brought this up, in fact, it really proves that statement. The reason I was extremely poor, in fact, abysmally poor in chemistry. So I didn't want to take chemistry because we were in Vrindavan in that Bangalore University syllabus. Just
Mm,
then, the Vrindavan College got transferred to Satsai Institute because Satsai Institute came into existence in 7980. We were
mm,
already midway in our degree by then, right? So
okay.
halfway
Mm,
we were brought into Satsai Institute. And so we
mm,
had to write an entrance to come to MSc, right?
okay.
So we had to choose because for us, maths, physics, chemistry, all was general BSc that we did. There was no honors then, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
we had to choose and kept asking Bhagwan, and Bhagwan finally, just an hour before I had to send the application, Swami said, do chemistry. It was like a shock because maths was my absolutely comfortable subject. I was doing
mm,
extremely well in math and I
mm,
was wanting to take math. And Swami
mm,
said, you do chemistry. So
mm,
I came and the entrance exam was a miserable flop. However, Swami
mm,
gave me the seat. In fact, he came,
mm,
came out and said, your name wasn't there. I wrote your name, Swami said. Right.
wow.
So it is his grace. Then I
Mm,
got into MSc and it was the syllabus at Puttaparthi is really, everyone should know about it. It's at a IIT level syllabus, right? It's a really beautifully crafted syllabus, advanced level
mm,
syllabus. And I had done chemistry, which was Bangalore University chemistry, right?
mm,
So there was a huge gap in the kind of level to which I had to raise to understand what is happening in the class,
mm,
right? In the master's class. So
Mm.
my first few months in masters was complete blank. You will not believe
Oh,
it was
wow.
so much of a blank. I was not understanding. And unfortunately
Mm.
for me, all other my classmates were from Parthi. I was the only one from Vrindavan. So they
Okay.
had already been exposed to this kind of teaching and this kind of high level understanding of chemistry by
Mm.
Professor Krishna Swami sir, right? And I
Mm.
was sitting there, only person completely. I was only little not understanding what was happening, frankly. So
Mm.
somehow, and first few we had unit tests there. Every month there used to be a test. First few of
Mm.
them were completely uh, sub-zero levels I used to touch. I realized I can't go through this anymore, right? So
Mm. Mm.
fortunately, Bhagwan gave interview. I kept
Mm.
writing letters. I was not taking them, but he gave
Mm.
interview. Then I took that opportunity and told Bhagwan, I will take 1 year off. I have no problem, right? I will do whatever you want me to do other than chemistry. Because this is not getting into my head, and I am not able to understand this chemistry, even how much ever I am trying. Then
Mm.
Swami brushed it aside. Interview was getting over. So I thought I will not get an opportunity again to put this prayer to Bhagwan. So I got
Mm.
hold of Bhagwan's. Swami, at the end of the interview, with that basket in one hand, Swami used to give vibhuti, if you remember, a
Mm.
beautiful sight,
Mm.
right? So
Mm.
at that time, I caught hold of Swami's hand, which was giving vibhuti. I didn't leave
Oh
boldly.
my God.
At that time, to catch hold of Swami was means we were not. Swami was very close, but that Swami, without Swami's permission, was never. We didn't
Mm.
have that guts. But
Mm.
I took that opportunity. I held Swami's hand, and Swami said, "Enti, what is it? Enduku enti, enduku cheyavu?" So I said,
Mm.
Swami, it's not understanding, and I'm failing also. I don't
Mm.
think I'll be able to go through this 2 years in this manner. It's not possible for
Mm.
me. Then Swami
Mm.
made a beautiful statement before giving the vibhuti. Swami just looked into my eyes. Means normally as Swami was looking, and Swami said, "Do it as na puja laga chahi. Do it as my worship."
Mm.
I had no other answer. I just
Mm.
took vibhuti, took namaskar, came out. From then on, I use this as a. I sit before chemistry text. I'll first pray to Swami. Swami, I'll tell mentally, Swami, this is your puja, and then start studying. And I don't know what
Mm.
happened. Things changed.
Wow.
It just completely changed, and I started understanding. I don't know how that
Mm.
understanding came to me, but I started understanding, and clarity was just. It was growing by day.
Wow.
And now I'm able to really understand and really utilize that knowledge so well.
Absolutely.
It's Swami's grace, that's all, nothing else. It's not me who's
Absolutely.
doing it.
Mm.
He just, the only mantra maybe everyone can follow is do it as his worship. That's all. Everything will fall in place. There won't be
Absolutely, sir.
anything that's difficult for us to do if we do it as his worship.
Absolutely, sir. The other aspect which I was thinking while you were narrating throughout this 1 hour, sir, is this is very, very unique kind of a knowledge, which was ancient knowledge. And I was actually wondering why is that someone did not actually go into this kind of a depth, uh, or maybe they have, but it's not common knowledge across the board. Like what you were talking throughout the last 60 minutes is something very, very unique. Is it something like, in some parts of the divine knowledge is actually shared at one particular point of time? This was actually hidden for thousands of years, and now Swami, it seems, allowing this to be opened up. What's your thought around this?
Yeah, sure. Certainly it is that. Because it's a combination of the book itself. Someone asked me, what is the book about? Means which, before classifying, the publisher asked me, what should I classify it as? Really, we had a
Mm.
tough time because if you really look at it, it contains it contains agronomy, it
Mm.
contains plant physiology, contains plant biochemistry, right? It
Mm.
contains Vedas. We have quoted from Vedas. We have quoted from Puranas. We have quoted from Kalidasa's Mahakavyas,
Mm.
archaeology, right? Quantum physics. So
Mm.
where the fields are so diverse that a combination of this rarely you will get in a single book,
Absolutely.
right? So it is, and utilizing these all these various aspects only we are able to really deep
Mm.
dive and get this knowledge. And as you rightly said, it is not that we did it. This
Mm.
connects Bhagavan, made it happen. We used to
Absolutely.
get the right connect or the right book at the right time and the right
Mm,
direction at the right time. So he made it
mm,
happen. That's all.
absolutely,
It's
sir.
completely so it can't be classified purely as an agri book. Can't be
Mm,
classified as a Vedas because you will find quotes of Veda. In fact, in Kalidas, as I was telling you, see the fascinating thing how they were making people take to multi-cropping was through
mm,
again creating a kind of uh, what should I say a belief around it. Like
mm.
in Kalidasa's Abhijnana Saptalam, it comes. There was a belief at that time, it seems, that you have to marry a tree with a creeper.
Ah,
Okay. And only after that you consume the fruit of the tree.
okay.
Okay. And the combinations
Mm,
are again unique. Mango
mm,
has to be married with jasmine.
mm,
And people used to actually perform a small marriage,
mm, mm,
right? Before consuming mango. Actually, if you go in depth, there are two pathways in plant physiology, ISR
mm,
and SIR, SAR we call as induced systemic resistance, systemic acquired resistance. There are two resistance pathways which plant
mm.
utilizes to fight infection.
Ah,
And can you believe this? Jasmonates are the triggers for systemic acquired resistance. If a plant produces jasmonate as a response to an insect attack, right?
mm,
Then immediately that's a trigger. It's like a hormone for us, right? It's a trigger
mm,
which makes the plant produce small secondary metabolites which fight the insect.
mm,
And this jasmonate is produced freely in the by the jasmine plant, means as an essential oil. So when you make it grow next to it, the minute it flowers, jasmonate is produced in the air. That will make the
mm,
plant the resistance pathway get triggered. So even before the pest can come and attack, the tree is prepared to fight it.
wow,
See the beauty of what? No,
amazing.
this depth of knowledge from where did this they get? How did they identify
Absolutely.
that jasmine has to go with mango? Right? So
Absolutely.
and the whole thing is given some story format,
Mm,
simple story format. Really. So we
mm,
captured some of those stories also. So that no, it's fascinating really the way the
mm,
knowledge was being transferred, and it's not needed that you need to explain every aspect of why it should be done to a farmer, right?
mm,
You do this, it
mm.
will do good to you is enough, more than enough. So that's what they
Absolutely.
concentrated on. Beautiful,
Absolutely, sir.
really, it is. It was
Absolutely,
a
sir.
very
See,
thrilling journey. Very thrilling
no,
journey.
no, absolutely. I think last, I think 1 hour, 10 minutes, I can say I'm actually thrilled because this kind of an interview has not happened before. So this is the first time you're not just telling the concept, you're telling the practical aspect of it. You're giving the Puranic description in terms of what the Vedas were saying and how the cultural societal implications will be. So I was actually going through the themes and to see whether I should be asking you more questions. And I go back to the themes again to actually look at the kind of answers you gave. We looked at scientific depth and methodology. We looked at practical application and benefits. We looked at impact on organic and sustainable farming, and the last aspect of cultural and societal implications. So I
Yeah.
haven't really asked you the questions, but you actually covered through your description, and I can see the passion and the excitement, the way you actually dealing with it. And that's one reason as to why I didn't really want to disturb because there was so beautiful flow throughout this particular recording, sir. So if you want me, I can ask you the questions, but I feel that you actually covered it,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
will be
More
revealing
or less covered, yes.
you actually will be revealing too much of the book. So
Yeah,
let actually
correct.
people buy the book. It is an enticement. This 1 hour 10 minutes
Yeah,
recording is an enticement for them, and fantastic interview, sir. I think this is something which I really enjoyed. Uh, Looks like
thank you.
divinely ordained. I can actually say
Yeah,
divinely ordained. The right timing, 22nd, I think you released the book. I think
yeah,
just yesterday I saw it on LinkedIn. Me pinging
yeah.
you connecting with me, and just doing this looks like Swami actually
That's
wants it to be
yes.
done. But excellent. I
Certainly.
mean, I thought loved it, sir. Think
Thank you, really. I'm very, very convinced that integrating these three pillars will make organic farming far more resilient and make it really viable, commercially viable. I think this is the way
absolutely, sir.
forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think what maybe we'll do, so just one idea which I had is, as you rightly said, in between the interview, maybe we can actually hold on to one of the concepts and then go in depth as such
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
sure.
future interviews. We'll do a kind
Yeah,
of a series instead of a one-off kind of an interview. This is basically for the book that we are doing. But in
yeah,
terms of the research which you want to focus on, next 6 months
yeah,
or
yeah,
9 months, maybe monthly one kind of a episode. Let's take
yeah.
one particular topic and go in depth if you're okay.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. There's a knowledge
Let's
which has to be shared. Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely, sir.
Right.
So thanks so much for taking
Thank
your
you.
time,
Really.
very, very valuable
Thank
time.
you for giving me
And
this opportunity.
I think this
Speaking to
is
you always is a pleasure.
absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Saira.